Hey guys. So I was rewatching Crystal Maiden 77's review of issue 247 from the Archie Sonic run. And one thing that she said when the revelation came out by Silver that Sally was indeed the traitor due to her robotization, she basically called BS on it. And I think when you kind of listen to what she has to say, you obviously know that she's not alone in that theory or that belief. Now, even though it was pretty much, I guess you could say, all but confirmed that Sally was one of the top suspects to Silver's traitor lineup, if you will, of freedom fighters or Mobians that betrayed the freedom fighters, betrayed the planet. Even though she was in that suspect list, we didn't really know exactly how just yet, that would come to be. And with Silver revealing that it was Sally, indeed Sally, that betrayed them, and then Ian Flynn writing in the explanation for Silver, and even along with helping the Arctic Freedom Fighters to give on as to why she was the traitor historically, because between hundreds and thousands of years, facts can get lost and misinterpreted and stuff like that, thus making people think one thing over the other. Even though they tried to make it a little bit more clearer and understanding as to why, she was the traitor or she was looked at and branded as such, still people like Crystal Maiden don't believe that Ian Flynn had this planned out long term. That this is an idea, a revelation that he came up with at the last moment. And you can't blame her or anybody else for believing that. Because when you really think about it, even if the plan from the get-go was for Sally to be revealed, I should say, as the traitor, they could have gone obviously within, many different directions, if you will, many different directions with the revelation. They could have gone in the direction they did with the Patch and Antron thing that Ken Penders wrapped up before he left. They could have had it revealed that the reason Sally was branded as a traitor is because her evil counterpart, Alicia, Anti-Sally from Moebius, the Anti-Mobius, was wreaking havoc, throughout all the time, or various parts of time. And because of doing such, it caused Silver's world to become so desolate. And the only evidence they had was someone of the original FFs, or one of the original FFs, was the reason for it. But, they couldn't pinpoint who. And throughout all the various potential suspects out there, like I said, Sally obviously from the get-go was in that top 3 lineup of characters that would be revealed to, fill that role. But again, the concept of how that was never meant to be. And for Ian to come out and have it revealed it was due to her robotization and weaponization, like I said, not a lot of people buy into that. They really don't. Because one of the things he puts in there for the characters to mention is that robotization, information on robotization and all that could have been lost to the seas of time. But here's a question though. How can you lose information on something that, if done correctly and if done for good, could potentially expand your lifespan? If not, maybe replace a limb or so that you're missing. How can you forget about that kind of technology, if not scientific discovery, throughout the seas of time? You don't, because generations after generations, obviously you would make sure it was passed on, downloaded, passed on, and downloaded, and kept for safekeeping. Now, I'm not denying, as I've said here before, in this thing that I read off the other day before work, I'm not saying that, what he had the characters like Silver and the Arctic Freedom Fighters come up as a solution, as an answer, isn't, true to real life, because it is. I mean, in real life, as we have seen recently over the past decade or so, historical facts on historical figures and events that occurred hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, may be viewed one way previously, but as more information comes out, throughout the past decade or so, they start getting viewed another way. Like, oh, I thought we knew this. I thought we knew all about this event, but I guess we didn't because here's this other information. Or I thought we knew all about this historical figure and all that, but I guess not because here's this other information. So I can understand trying to make it, feel like I wouldn't say real life scenario, but basically tie it into how real life situations occur when discovering more about historical facts and events that you may have not known of because they were either thought to be lost or they were misinterpreted throughout the years of hundreds and thousands that passed. So I can get where he's coming from when he implants that idea that the reason that they didn't know about robotization in Silver's time, the reason they weren't too clear as to why Sally or whoever was described to be the traitor did the betraying, I can understand that. But again, a lot of folks feel like Crystal Maiden 77 that he pulled this, this idea, this answer out of his butt at the last minute, mainly because he didn't have a true solution. And if he did have a true solution, he had to alter it because of the behind the scenes issues. And that's again very understandable that that has to happen. Because Ian Flynn obviously, had opportunity to really delve more into Silver's, suspicions and theories and beliefs as to who the traitor could be, taken out of his hands because of what happened behind the scenes. So maybe, yes, Crystal Maiden 77 and others that agree with her have, they have a legit gripe that this is probably something that wasn't really going to be part of the story and that it was something that came out at the last minute. Now, Ben Bates did confirm that, yeah, at 250, Sally was going to be supposedly restored, but then we'd find out it's a sleeper agent on behalf of Eggman, and then Sonic would have to spend another 50 issues trying to find her. Or less than that, who knows? But the point is, whether or not any of that's true, I mean, Ben was there. He's just going off ideas that were given to him at times to kind of draw and go off of, nothing concrete. But whether or not any of that is meant to be true or to be taken seriously or with a grain of salt, is another story for another time. But again, what I'm trying to say is what that does tell me though is that Ian Flynn probably planned to stretch out the revelation of Silver's who the traitor is that caused Silver's world to be desolate even longer. Because here's the way I look at it. Whether or not he would have gone the sleeper agent route or he would have just had Sally restored or whatever, my thought is this. He still goes with the idea of having Silver come in and help them because him and Harvey Hu, or thanks to the help of Harvey Hu, pinpointed the fact that yes, Sally is the traitor. But knowing Ian, he likes to throw in a little twist here and there. So who's to say that he doesn't go through with the original idea and everything, and after the Genesis wave, the third Genesis wave that causes the crossover with Mega Man and all that occurs, and then they come back and resume where they left off. Who's to say that after Silver, helps bring Sally back and she gets restored and all that he goes back to his future thinking everything is good, but then it's still the same, if not worse. Realizing that, okay, Sally's not the traitor, it's got to be somebody else, but what? Oh, but who? Who could it be? And to me, one of the things I pointed out was if you're going to go the traitor route and make it be as impactful to the point that it desolates someone else's future thousands of years, forward, then the best answer would be someone like Sonic, because Sonic is looked at as the hero. He's looked at as the, to-go guy, when it comes to protecting the planet. So it would make more sense if his unwilling or willing traitorism caused the world to fall into desolation. Same with Tails. Tails could be put into a similar category where his willing or unwilling traitorism causes the world to go into desolation because he's looked at as a boy genius with an above 10th level intellect. But that's neither here or there as to that would have been the case or the solution either way. But again, only Ian Flynn and those around him know that whether or not that if he had the revelation of Sally being the traitor because of her robotization and weaponization, be the true answer in the long run, or if it was something that he just pulled out at the last moment because he needed something to help wrap up the original run before the reboot occurred, before the crossover, and thus the unfortunate soft retcon reboot occurred that threw everything out of whack. Now, the silver lining was everything that was originally planned and potentially could have been, was basically shelved because it involved characters they couldn't use. And we ended up getting Sally back initially anyway with the design that was already proposed for her. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on, Crystal Maiden 77 and others, believing that, Sally's robotization and weaponization, you know, thus causing her to be revealed, I should say, as the traitor unwillingly that caused Silver's timeline to go out of whack, basically go into desolation. Do you think it was something that Ian Flynn pulled out of his rear at the last moment, or do you think he did have it planned long term? And if so, what do you think would have came out of it had things not gone askew because of the lawsuit behind the scenes? Let me know down below in the comments as well as in the live chat during the premiere where super chats and super stickers are open and would be appreciated, guys. Whatever you guys can do. Also check out the Teespring store. Also check me out at BWRS's Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also check me out at VENMO for content you can't get anywhere else except on YouTube. Also check me out at deviantart.com/BVW1979. Also check me out at patreon.com/BWRoses. I have a new $3 Patreon up there, new video talking about the Queen's Delight fanfic. If you guys want to check that out, go to patreon.com, support me at the $3 level, and you'll get access to that video as well. That will go public very soon, but I'm letting you know if you want to get a heads up before anybody else, go there. I think you will enjoy it. Also, check me out at Venmo at Brian-Warmer-2 to help support me there as well, and at Cash App at BWRoses98. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. How do you feel about, like I said, what Crystal Maiden 77 and others have had to say? Do you think, in a way that, the revelation that she's the traitor because of her robotization, thus making her unwilling traitor that caused Silver's world to go kaput, was something long-term planned by Ian? Or do you think maybe it was something that he pulled out of, his butt at the last second, as Crystal Maiden would put it? Let me know down below, as well as in the live chat during premiere, and I am out.